Sadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Southern Division, fourth wave, Vyabhicari Bhav. And we have been looking into the 30 Vyabhicari Bhavs and examples for each of them. Rupa Goswami is giving references from various scriptures. You can imagine what is the expertise of Rupa Goswami. Nana Vichara Nipano Shadharma Samstapano. As in the Shad Goswami Ashtapam. We can't even, recite these verses or remember these verses. The number of references he has taken, that number must be only very huge. Krishna Karnamrit, Padma Puran, Hari Vamsh, so many references he has extracted the essence of rasa from these scriptures and presented the essential conclusions in his most pristine and esoteric work, that is the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. How fortunate we are. We have been directly given the nectar. Only thing we have to, uh, you know, understand it coming in the Guru Shish Parampara. So we had been seeing yesterday the Vyabhichari Bhav called Avahitya, concealing, hiding one's external symptoms because of thinking oneself low. When external action is there, because we feel low and we conceal. And in this Vyabhichari Bhav, there are these three elements we saw: Hetu, Gopya, and Gopana. And yesterday we practically most of the class, yesterday's class, we spent in understanding this entire verse. You can see. I'm just going to refer to that. I'll just refer the chart. Yes. So either they act individually or collectively. Yesterday we saw that. It can act as a Hetu or Gopya and Gopana. And we saw, Rukmini, not first, the gopis. The cause was the envy, deceit, which was filled. When Krishna returned back, why did he do this to us? And what they concealed, the anger which was stemming from envy. And how did they, by which emotion they concealed this anger? By smiling, showing joy, praising words, touching, like that. Then Rukmini, uh, she hid her anger, and that she was able to hide because of her submissive attitude. And she appeared, She had a false gentle behavior externally, and nobody could detect it. And then there was bashfulness, and what was concealed is the inner enjoyment, inner intention to enjoy the Lord. And externally, they gave the symptoms of embracing through the eyes, through the heart, and then sending the children. And there was slight tears manifestation, So that became the concealing element for concealing their joy. So we saw this. Then natural deceitful nature is the hetu by which what is concealed is the joy. Concealing element is fear, and they are speaking about Krishna, the snake, like, and the cause is the good character. The attraction is hidden by self-control, Radharani. Cause is respect because it is dasiras, and hidden is unsteadiness, and there is an attempt to control, and head is down. That is a Vyabhicari Bhava. So yesterday we saw this. And then we saw also Smriti, what is the definition? And then we saw Smriti arising from similar object, and then Smriti arising from determined practice. Then we saw Vitarka also, arriving at conclusion. We saw this. There was Vitarka arising from inference, and then there was Vitarka arising from doubt, samshaya, from samshaya. Beautiful it was, looks like a Tamil tree, but Tamil tree is clearly moving. It is not a Tamil tree, but is it a dark cloud? And dark cloud backside is the moon, but the moon is spotted. This one is not. It is Krishna, so like that. So yesterday we saw this. So today we will begin with the 22nd Vyabhicari Bhav, which is Chinta. अतः चिंता ध्यानम चिंता भवेत् इष्टानाप्त अनिष्टताप्ति निर्मितम स्वासधो मुख्य बूलेक वैवर्यान निर्द्रता इह विलापोत्ताप कृष्यत भास्म दैन्यादयोऽपि च. Pondering dhyanam arising from nirmitam, not attaining a desired object, ishtan apti, or from attaining an undesirable object, anishtan apti is called chinta, chinta bhavet. In this state, here, heavy breathing, shwasa, hanging the head, adha, mukha, writing on the ground, bhu, leka. Leka means to write, and write on the bhu, who is earth. Change of color, vaivaranya, sleeplessness. We have, when we are too much doing chinta, then we lose our sleep. We all have this experience, yes? We lose sleep. Prattle, vilap, we keep on prattling, and fever occur. Uttapa, krashata, bhasma, dainyado, picha. So we have experience of chinta, but there is chinta also in the spiritual world. And that is the cause of rasa, but in the material world, its perverted form is a cause of trouble. It is a perverted rasa, which is the source of all misery, you can say. Dhyanam here means pondering. When pondering arises from not attaining a desired object or attaining an undesired object, it is called chinta. Okay, now example for Ishtana Aptya, Sri Dashami. Pondering arising from not attaining the desired object of love. Their heads hanging down and they are heavy. Kritva mukhanya avashuchaya. Sorrowful breathing, shwasanena, drying up, shushad. Their reddened lips, bimba dharani. The gopis scratch the ground with their toes. Charanena likhantaha. Tears flowed from their eyes. Asrer, carrying their kajal. Uttamasibi. and washing away mrijante, the vermilions made on their breast. Kuchak kumani. Thus they stood, tastur, silently, tushnim, bearing the burden of their unhappiness. Uru dukha bharasma. So, in what context this verse is spoken? Anyone knows? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Anyone knows? Kindly raise your hands. Yes, Vinita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Prana. Prabhuji, is it that when Krishna was going to Mathura and the gopis were not happy?
No, no, that's not the context here. This is
Okay.
10th canto, 29th chapter, 29th verse. So 29 chapters deal with what? 29, 30, 31. This is a famous Rasa Panchadhyaya. Krishna played his flute on the Vamsivata and the gopis left everything and came. And then Krishna started instructing, giving moral instructions. Oh, you're all married women at the dead of the night to see a, you know, male person. It's not, started instructing on Sri Dharma. So they had come to attain Krishna and they were not able to attain the desired object of love. And then the heads were hanging down and, you know, they started scratching the ground with their toes, and tears were falling from their eyes. They stood there out of unhappiness. So this is that context. Okay. This verse shows the anubhavas resulting from chinta. So the anubhavas are mentioned, tears, writing on the ground. These are all external symptoms. Lajja is also implied. By this invitation to love, we gave up our natural shyness and now shyness has returned. Being well-bred young woman, we have heaps of shyness, but because of that love, we have given up shyness. So they were all cultured women and they had a lot of shyness. And but the love which they have for Krishna made them give up that shyness and they broke all the barriers and they had come to Krishna. That type of love is praiseworthy in the opinion of those knowledgeable of rasa and is never criticized. So that's the point Jiva Goswami is making. The characteristic of this love is that it brings the Supreme Lord under control. This is Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary. Please remember that. Jiva Goswami has not spoken about it. If the object of our love, Krishna, has not come under control, it must be that we do not really have love for him. So that's what they were thinking. What was the use of our giving up our shyness? Such thoughts show remorse, shyness, and chinta pondering. So these were the thoughts which were going on in the hearts of the gopis, and Vishnu Chakra is bringing out that their faces show that remorse. When you put your head down, suppose you commit, some mistake, and your authorities call, and you put your head down. No, it's because it is the facial expressions, the movement of the hands, legs, anything can exhibit all the emotions what are going on, and we have to understand based on the science what emotions uh, represent or what physical actions, the external symptoms represent what kind of emotions. Out of lamentation, their lips, reddened by bimba fruits, became dried up by hot breathing. Suddenly, because of the hot breathing, their red lips become dried, just like a dried fruit. When the heat of the sun dries up the red bimba fruit, they lose their fullness and they become full of blemishes, like that. The shyness and pondering are next described. So there is shyness and pondering. They wrote on earth with the big toes of their left feet. By this, they indicated that they desired to enter the earth as it parted. So this is what is there. It shows. Lamentation and pain are described then. The tears mixed with kajala smeared the kumkuma on their breasts. So this is lamentation. It appeared that the black line created was dividing them in half with the saw of great remorse due to the increased period of separation. Tears in the plural indicate that great volumes of tears flowed. So tears is plural here. By not mentioning that tears dampened their clothing, it is suggested that the two Yamuna rivers flowing from their eyes and the fire of fire of pain arising from their hearts began a conflict. So there is the tears and there is the fire of separation. So both are conflicting. One is water and another is like fire. So water and fire, when they come, there is reaction in the form of steam. They are, two different emotions, two different elements. So there is a conflict in the heart, began in heart, one desiring to moisten everything, another desiring to dry everything up. One being victorious, one being defeated. With the weight of extreme sorrow, they stood silently. Not tolerating the burden, they lost consciousness. Thus they simply stood there. They stood straight up like statues without consciousness. So this is what Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur mentions in his commentary. Very beautifully, he brings out all the symptoms, anubhavas, the gopis manifested, what exactly they all mean. Prabhupada is narrating now in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna asked all the gopis to go back to their homes. They did not like it. Because of their grief at this, they were sighing heavily and their beautiful face appeared to be drying up. In this condition, they remained without making a sound. They began to draw lines on the ground with their toes, and with their tears, they washed away the black ointment from their eyes onto their breast, which were covered with a red kumkum powder. This is an instance of anxiety in ecstatic love. So please remember, this is anxiety in ecstatic love. In the material world, we have anxiety for the so-called love, which we have object of love. And this anxiety is not ecstatic. It's not ecstatic, we have to understand. And this causes, it turns into sometimes ghastly rasa in the form of murder, in the form of suicide, in the form of so many things. So these are all perverted rasas in the material world. Another example. O killer of Aghantaka, your affectionate mother, doshadi, depressed and thin, vidhurita mukhi, guryanti anta, from thinking of you, prashus tava chintaya, remained sitting, adyasina, on the veranda, pranganam, for a long time, Chirad, and having waited till evening, Shama Pradosham, she now wanders about within the house. Artibir Atikramya. How, Katam, astonishing is this. Kim Ahaha. Though, Api, you experience such fun here, Krida Lubdha, you have completely forgotten about your house. Graham, Tvayadya, Vis Visasmare. Now again, this is in which context? It looks like it is from the Bhagavatam, but let's see what. Just a second. There is some. Yeah. Adoshadi means pure-minded. Dhi means intelligence. Dosha means contamination. Adosha means pure. Because she is pure-minded, Yashoda has natural affection for Krishna. Pranganam means a veranda. It is spelled either Pranganam, Prangana. Okay. Now, Prabhupada will make it clear in what context this is. One of the friends of Krishna once informed him, my dear killer of Demon Mura, your kind and gentle mother is very anxious because you are not returned home, and with great difficulty she has passed the evening constantly sitting on the balcony of your home. It is certainly astonishing how you could forget your mother while you are off somewhere engaged in your activities. So this is during Krishna Leela only. Maybe one of the days Krishna is late in the evening, and Mother Yashoda is waiting. This is another instance of deep anxiety and ecstatic love. Okay, now the first example was pondering from not attaining the desired object of love. This is chinta arising from attaining something undesirable. Anishtitaptya yatha. Anishtitaptya. Grihini gahanantaschintayon Glapaya namuka padmam tapta bhasma plavena nripapuram anuvindam gandenyena sardham tavasutam ahameva drag paravratami. Do not remain sleepless, anidra nidra, absorbed, glapaya, in intense deliberation. Gahana antaschintayon, with hot tears withering, tapta bhasma plavena, your lotus face, mukha padmam. I will, aham eva, go to Mathura with Akrura, Nripapuram anuvindyam, Gandhinena sardam. It's Akrura. Sardam means along with, and bring back your son very soon. Tava sutam drak para vartayami. So maybe somebody is giving solace to Yashoda, stating, I will soon bring him back. The speaker Garga is saying that Yashoda should no longer worry about undesirable things. So this is Garga speaking and assuring Yashoda Mata. The undesirable thing is that Krishna was staying in Mathura after killing Kamsa. So he told that after killing Kamsa, he'll come back, but he's still continuing to stay. So that was like undesirable thing. Okay. One, Mother Yashoda was very anxiously waiting for Krishna to return from Mathura. Maharaj Nanda gave her this solace. Do not be worried. Please dry your beautiful lotus-like face. There is no need for you to breathe so hotly. I will immediately with Akrura go to the palace of Kansa and get your son back for you. This is anxiety caused by an awkward position. Okay, so any questions you have regarding Chinta? Any questions, any clarifications on Chinta? Yes. Subh Ekshana Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Prabhu. Prabhu, in this text that we discussed, 139, here it says Garga Muni is the speaker, but in Prabhupada's translation here it is Nanda Maharaj who is giving solace to Yashoda Mai. So how should we understand?
Well, we need not go into the details because, see, we don't have the actual scriptural book, which is maybe it is Gargacharya's book. So the speaker of the book must be Gargacharya. And
Yes, Prabhu. Context we don't know.
yeah, so we'll have to see the context and all. And it doesn't really, matter much. So whether Gargacharya told Yashoda or it is Nanda. So we'll have to see the actual book and then only we can conclude what it is. So we
Yes,
take
Prabhu.
both the explanations. And the essence is basically that the chinta is because of, you know, attaining something undesirable. That's the point. So that
Yes.
context has to be understood. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. This is quite relatively simple. Now let's go to Mati. Now this is very interesting also. There's some problem today with the, yeah. Atah Mati. शास्त्रादीनं विचारोत्थम अर्थनिर्धारणं mati. Ascertaining a meaning, artha nirdharanam, after consulting scripture, shastradinam vichara uttam is called mati. So it's very interesting. For many years, I had this question. Sometimes, uh, uh, many times we come across there is smriti and there is mati. Smriti also is, remembrance because you need intelligence to remember. And then mati is also sometimes said as intelligence. But here the different shades and the finer aspects Rupa Goswami is explaining. He's explaining here, you can see. So now, conclusions are drawn in Vitarka as well, but not through reference to scriptures. So here Rupa Goswami is bringing the difference between Mati and Vitarka. Tarka means, without drawing conclusions, without reference to scriptures, especially the Nyaya Shastras, they just do logical analysis and come to some conclusion. But coming to logical conclusion based on Shastric foundation, that is Mati. That is the difference. So in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Rup Goswami says it is Shastra Yukti. Yukti means, logic, but it is Shastra Yukti. So that is something like Mati. Shastra Yukti is Mati, you can say. Okay. अत्र कर्तव्य करणं संशय भ्रमयोश्चिदा उपदेशश्च शिष्यानाम् ऊहापोहादयोऽपि च. In this state, atra performing necessary actions, kartavya karanam, after cutting doubts and illusions, samshaya brahmayoschida, giving instructions to students, upadesha cha shishyanam, and defeating other arguments and opposite conclusions occur. Uha po ha dayo picha. So, we can see what is Krishna in the Gita doing. He is encouraging Arjuna to do his kartavya, especially in the first 6 chapters. And he's cutting out his all doubts and illusions. And he's giving instruction. And he's also defeating the other arguments and the opposite conclusions. So this Krishna does in the 2nd chapter, you can see. In the 2nd chapter, Arjuna is lamenting. And Krishna, by giving the knowledge of the soul, he convinces. And then he gives opposite conclusions also. Ata chainam nitya jatam nityam va manasya mritam tatapi tvam mahabhavo nainam sochitum arhasi, he says. He defeats the other conclusions. And then he says, Dehi nityam tasmat sarvani bhutam natvam sochitum. He concludes here. So like that. And even, it comes in 4th chapter, especially the last verse. Tasmat agyana sambhutam ritstam jnanam atmana chitvainam samshayam yogam atishta uttishta bharata. Do your kartavya and destroy the illusion, agyana sambhutam, by the sword of knowledge, chitvanam, to cut the wrong conclusions and coming to the right conclusion, cutting doubts and illusions. So this is what happens in Mati. Okay, let's see. Now the scriptural proof for this. Yatha Padme, Vaishaka Mahatme. Let the Puranas and other scriptures, Purana Agamas, glorify Jalpantu here and there, Tete, for a Kalpavadi, the greatness, Paramikam of their respective detas, Tam Tam Evahi Devatam, in order to produce illusion, Vyamoha in the people of this world, Chara Charasya Jagatas. But after taking account of all varieties of interpretation, Samasta Agama Vyapareshu Vivechana Vetikramam, their conclusion is that Nitishu Nishchayate, Vishnu alone is the Supreme Lord. Siddhante Punar Eka Eva Bhagavan Vishnu. So the scriptures glorify so many devtas, ultimately, how to understand what is the essence of the scriptures. So the scriptures themselves are giving this conclusion that even if you glorify for a kalpa, these devtas, it will produce illusion in people. It's that, to conclude to that. But, the real interpretation and the real conclusion of the Shastra is that Vishnu is the Supreme Lord. Okay. Jiva Goswami. Let the Puranas and Agamas speak here and there to persons incapable of concluding the essence of all Puranas and Agamas. and let them glorify the Devatas as the best for a kalpa. Kalpa means a day of Brahma. However, their conclusions are actually otherwise. When the meanings of the various statements, Vyapareshu, which may be conventional or literal, are brought together for judging as a whole, Vivechna Vetikramam, the conclusion is that Vishnu alone is Bhagavan. Chara Charasya for moving entities refers to humans in this context because they are qualified for understanding scriptures. So it only because there are many moving entities like animals also move, but in this context, so how to understand the meaning of the Shastra, in this context it specifically refers to only human beings. Okay, Prabhupada speaks about he says mati as thoughtfulness, so he says the same thing. And then Yathava Shri Dashami in the 10th canto. Knowing that great sages Munibir who have renounced all attachments, Nashta Danda, proclaim your glories, Tava Gadita Anubhava, that you are the supreme soul of all worlds, Atma Jagatam, and that you are so gracious that you give away even your own self, Atma Dascha. I choose you as my husband, iti me vritosi, rejecting Hitva, Lord Brahma, Abja, Shiva, Bhava, and the rulers of heaven, Naka Patnim, whose aspirations are all frustrated. Dwasta Shisho, Dwasta Shisho, by the force of time, Kalavega, which is born, Udirita, from your eyebrows, Bhavat Bruva. What interest then could I have in other suitors? Kuto Anya. So who is speaking this verse? Anyone knows? Any guess? Who is speaking this verse? Anyone would like to try? Who is speaking this verse? Anyone? No, nobody knows. Who is speaking this verse? Yes, Vinita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Prabhuji, is it Rukmini while writing the letter to Krishna?
Yes, yes, this is the famous Rukmini's letter, you know. So she is mentioning, she's come to that conclusion. So let's read the commentary. Rukmini speaks this verse explaining her own nature of churning of the milk ocean to produce nectar. Nesta danda, renouncing the staff, means devoid of all material positions and desires. Sannyas, Sanya and Nyas. Nyas means to give up. Kamyanam karmanam nyasa sannyasa kavayo vidu. Kamyanam karmanam. We do actions because of kam, desire. Nyas. Nyas means to give up. That is sannyas. So nasta dhanda, renouncing this, they even renounce the storm. That is the Paramamsa stage. Rukmini praises this example of detached stages in order to show that what she has concluded has also been concluded by great authorities previously. The dangers of association and desire are illustrated in verses such as Sangat Sanjate Kamam. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur, he gives a little more detail. This is a response of Rukmini to Krishna's statement in 10:60:16. So, why are you choosing me? There are so many others, why choose me? So Rukmini is responding. You have said that you are praised only by beggars. That's what also said, why you're choosing me who is only praised by bhikshukas. But being praised by the beggar renunciants is most praiseworthy. That is explained in this verse by Rukmini. Those who have become meek, renouncing the rod, are called bhikshu. Your powers are praised by the bhikshus. You are the soul of all beings, the most dear of all beings. Thus, glorifying you is not useless. If you say that glorifying you is useless, that statement alone is useless. You give yourselves, Atmada, to those in the universe who worship you. Knowing this, I have accepted you as my husband. You have said that I choose you out of ignorance. However, that statement shows that you do not know my knowledge. I have accepted you, rejecting Brahma and others whose benedictions are destroyed by the force of time, which emanates from your eyebrows. What to speak of rejecting the most inferior kings? You said I am short sighted, but you have said this not knowing my foresight. So Prabhupada also speaks about this. There is an account of Rukmini is writing a letter to Krishna requesting him to kidnap her before her marriage to another person. At that specific time, specific attachment of Rukmini for Krishna was expressed by Rukmini as follows. My dear Lord Krishna, your transcendental glories are chanted by great sages who are free from material contamination, and in exchange for such glorification, you are so kind that you freely distribute yourself to such devotees. As one can elevate oneself simply by your grace, so also by your direction alone, one may also be lost to all benedictions under the influence of eternal time. Therefore, I have selected your lordship as my husband, brushing aside personalities like Brahma and Indra, not to mention others. Rukmini enhanced her love for Krishna simply by thinking of him. This is an instance of thoughtfulness in ecstatic love. So, devotee should be very thoughtful, in all the decisions they make, whether it is respect to managerial decisions, whether it is respect to any decision throughout the day, even how much prasadam I will have, or how I'll spend my day, how I'll spend my japa time, very carefully and thoughtfully, all these things have to be decided. And that is the highest level of offering of our thoughts to Krishna. Mayeva mana adastva mayi buddhim niveshaya. Nivashasi mameva ata urdhvam na samshaya. So Krishna is saying that. 12.8. Okay. Atha Dhrithi. So now we come to Dhriti. Any questions on Mati before we go to Dhriti? Any questions you have? Okay, let's go to. There is one hand raised. No, okay. धृति स्यात् पूर्णतः ज्ञान दुःखाभावोत्ताप्तिभिः अप्राप्यातीतनष्टार्थान् अभिसंशोषणाधिकृत्. The steadiness of heart arising from Purnata, attaining realization of the Lord, Gyan, from absence of suffering in attaining realization of the Lord. There is absence of suffering, dukkha bhava, from realizing prema with the Lord. Uttama aptibhi is called dhriti, dhriti syat. In this state, there is no lamentation. Abhi samshoshanadi krit, for things not attained. Apraptitati, apraptatita, for things which have disappeared. Nashtarthan. So let's see this. Gyan means realization of the Lord. So here Gyan specifically, there can be, Gyan can generally refer to knowledge, and Vigyan refers to realization. But here Gyan means realization of the Lord. So you can see the meanings change as per the context. Dukkha abhava means absence of suffering from realizing a relationship with the Lord. Uttamapti is attaining prema in relation to the Lord. The fullness due to this or the absence of fickleness of the mind is called dhriti. So dhriti is absence of fickleness because the mind is fixed in the realization of the Lord or in prema. Endurance, Prabhupada says endurance. When a person is fully satisfied due to attaining knowledge, transcending all distress, or achieving his desired goal of life in transcendental devotional service to God, His state of endurance or steady-mindedness is called Riti. At this stage, one is not perturbed by any amount of loss, nor does anything appear to be unachieved by him. Tatra Jnanena Yata Vairagya Shatake. Brahatari. This is very famous Vairagya Shatake. The Vairagi should, read this Vairagya Shataka. There are 100 verses composed of Vairagya. From attaining realization of the Lord, from Brahatari's Vairagya Shataka. When I attain knowledge related to the Lord, Ashnimahi Vayam, I will eat only begged food. Bhikshamasha, live without clothing. Avaso Vasamahi, I will sleep on the ground. Shayamahi Mahi Prishte, what is the necessary of serving the king or other authorities? Kurve Mahi Kim Ishware. So when you attain the realization of the Lord, you live a life of bhiksha by begging and without clothes and sleeping on the ground. That's because you have attained realization of the Lord. This is a glorification of knowledge related to the Lord. Ishwara means by kings and others. So here Ishwara refers to kings and others. According to the opinion of a Brahatari, a learned scholar, when a person is elevated to this state of endurance, he thinks, I do not wish to be a highly posted government servant. I shall prefer to remain naked without proper garments. I shall prefer to lie down on the ground without any mattress. And despite all these disadvantages, I shall refuse to serve anyone, even the government. Prabhupada puts it in the modern context because kings are no more existing now. So Prabhupada is very practical in his translation and commentary. In other words, when one is in ecstatic love with the personality of Godhead, he can endure any kind of disadvantages calculated under the material concept of life. Dukha bhavena yata. Our cowsheds, Goshtam, have become the playground of Lakshmi. Rama Keli Graham Chakasti. And more than 1 billion parardha cows are running around. Gavascha dhavanti. A divine child is playing in the house. Putra stata divyati divya karma. I am fully satisfied. Tripta mama bodh, with the happiness of family life. Graha Medi Saukya. So Graha Medi, generally it cannot, in a generic sense, we might think Graha Medi is one who is attached to sense enjoyment. But we have to see the context. Based on the context, one who's following Shastra and living a life of according to Shastra also can refer to a Grahamedi. But again, in the context, Grahamedi can refer to one who is attached to sense enjoyment in family life and not performing dharma. But here it is used in a still higher sense. This is Nanda speaking, my son is playing here in this house where there are millions of cows, and I am fully satisfied. So this is his Viriti. This is a statement by the king of the cowherdmen, Nanda. Parardha means more than 1 billion or countless cows. How has this happiness been ascertained? The divine child is playing happily in my house. I am satisfied. Means that complete destruction of sorrow, which would cause dissatisfaction. So, as long as one is yenatma suprasiddhati, till then there is dukkha. And when one is completely satisfied, then, dukkha bhavena has been very nicely brought out here. Nand Maharaj, the father of Krishna, used to think, in my pasturing ground, the goddess of fortune is personally present, and I possess more than 100,000 cows, which loiter here and there. And above all, I have a son like Krishna, who is such a powerful, wonderful worker. Therefore, even though I am a householder, I am feeling so satisfied. This is an instance of mental endurance resulting from the absence of all distress. Okay. Uttamaptayata from Prema. I am situated Aditishtyatah on the bank of Tatam Apya, the ocean of nectar consisting of the Lord's pastimes. Hari Leela Sudha Sindhus. Thus my mind, manomama, is not aware of na manyate, artha, dharma, kama and moksha, chaturvaryam, which are now worthless like grass. Trinyapi. Hari Leela Sudha Sindhus Tatam Apya Aditishtata Mano Mama Chaturvargam Trinyapi Na Manyate. This is also quoted by Rup Goswami in the Eastern division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, when the characteristics of pure devotional sex, moksha laguta krit. But Bhava Bhakti makes even moksha completely, lagu, completely insignificant. So I am situated on the bank of the ocean of nectar consisting of Lord's pastimes. Thus my mind is not aware of dharma, artha, kama and moksha, which are now worthless like grass. Now this is the same thing. This is the instance of mind endurance due to achieving the best thing in the world, or even the ultimate salvation of merging into the existence of Brahman, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Now, Prabhupada also, the best thing in the world is absorption in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so the 25th Vyabhicari Bhav, we are coming to this. Maybe today and tomorrow, hopefully, another 7 Vyabhicari Bhavs are there. We should be able to finish. And the next classes, we will go through the other further topics. Okay. But up till now, you have any questions? Any clarifications? We will go through now Harsha, the 25th. We'll try to finish it. Any questions? Any clarifications? Okay. So let's go to happiness of the heart, Cheta Prasanata, arising from Jata, seeing or attaining. Ikshana Labadir. One's desired objects, Abhishta, is called Harsha. Harsha Syat. In this state, Iha, standing here on end, Romancha, perspiration, Sweda, tears, Ashru, glowing face, Mukhafullata, confusion, Avega, insanity, Unmada, indecision, Jadata, and fainting, Moha occur. Tata Moha Pija. Now, interesting, what you can observe in this verse is Harsha is a Vyabhichari Bhav, and because of this Vyabhichari Bhav, there are the Anubhavas like Satviki Bhavas, hair standing on end, perspiration, tears, glowing face. This you can say is Anubhava. But there is also a Vyabhichari Bhav in the form of Aveg, Unmad, Jadata, Moha. We have seen, these also. So that's what the mixture of these Vyabhichari bhavs can happen. In one Vyabhichari bhav, the other Vyabhichari bhavs mixture also can happen. Okay, let's see Jiva Goswami's commentary on this. The appearance of happiness means to be pleased or cheerful. That's it. No much. Okay, joy on seeing one's desired objects. Tatra abhikshita kshanana from Vishnu Puran, Yatashi Vishnu Purane. O sage Mune, when Akrura, Tada Akruro saw Drishtva, Krishna and Balram, Tau, his lotus face blossomed with joy. Vikasvat Bhaktra Sarojahi Mahimata, and all his hairs stood on end. Pulkanchita Sarvangas Abhavan. This is when Akrura first time went to Vrindavan to get Krishna and Balram. So when he saw Krishna, he became very happy, joyful, and hair stood on, and Prabhupada is explaining the same thing. Abhishta Lavena, from attaining one desired object, 10th canto. Upon the shoulder of one gopi, Tatrei Kamsa, Krishna placed his arm, Krishnasya Gatam Bahu, whose natural blue lotus fragrance, Utfalla Saurabham, was mixed with that of the sandal pulp and anointing it. Chandan aliptam. As the gopi relished that fragrance, Agraya, her bodily hair stood on end in jubilation, rishtaro aroma, and she kissed his arm. Chuchumba her. This is from the 10th canto. Prabhupada. It is stated in the 10th canto, 33rd chapter, verse 11 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Upon seeing that Krishna's arm was placed on her shoulder, one of the gopis engaged in the rasa dance became so ecstatically happy that she kissed Krishna on his cheek. This is an instance of feeling happiness because of achieving a desired goal. Okay, 26th Vyabhicari Bhav. Outsukyam. Kalakshamatvam outsukyam ishtekshapti spuradaadivi mukha shosha dvara chinta nishvasa stiratadikrit. Inability to tolerate the passing of time. Kala shamastvam, arising from desire to see or attain a desired object. Ishtekshiptapti puradibi is called outsokyam, impatience, outsokyam. So in the material world, one is impatient because of the modes. There is agitation by the modes of passion. When one is very passionate not to achieve things, he becomes very restless and impatient. But that is a negative aspect, and one should have patience. This is what Rupa Goswami Utsa Nishchay Dhairyat Tat Tat Karma Pravanat. But here the impatience is in relationship with Krishna. We should be having that outsukyam. When will I go to the temple? When will I take darshan of the Lord? When will I sit and hear the Bhagavatam? And this kind of eagerness, outkantya it is also called. So this is a real spiritual emotion, and this devotee should cultivate even in their regular practices and their Krishna consciousness. In this state, there is drying up of the mouth, mukha hasta, twara, haste, sorry, twara, pondering, chinta, and prominence of breathing, nishvasa, stirtadikrit. Kala shamatvam means non-toleration of the passage of time. Now, impatience arising from a desire to see one's cherished object. Okay, let's see the example. When the young woman of the city, Yuvataya, heard that Nishame, Lord Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure for human eyes, Naralochana Pana Patram, had arrived Praptam, they hurriedly went Sadhyo Yayursma on the royal road, Narendra Marge, to see him, Drishtum. They abandoned their household duties, Visruja Graha Karma, and even left their husbands in bed. Patnimsya Talpe, and their eagerness outsukya, the knots of their hair and garments, Kesha Dukula Badya, came loose. Vishlati. This is from the 10th canto, chapter 7. Let's see where the description will be there. Yeah, proper. In the 10th canto, 71st chapter, verse 33 of the Shravan, it is said, when Krishna first came from his kingdom to Indraprasth, the young females in the city became so eager to see him that they even at night, when they were lying down with their husbands, they could not restrain their eagerness. Even they were not properly dressed, and although their hair was loose and there were many household duties to perform, they still gave up everything and immediately went into the street to see Krishna. So this is the residents of Indraprasth, especially the young females, when Krishna from Dwarka came to Indraprasth. Eagerness in ecstatic love. Okay. From Stavavali, Sri Radhikashtake. Okay, Bir Krishna Prabhuji, yes. Yes, I have unmuted you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, this Autsukyam and Laulyam, is it same thing or it's
Tatra Laulyam Ek Moolanam. Yeah, that Laulyam basically is that intense greed, but that intense greed comes with the purification of the anarthas. There is material greed and there is spiritual greed. And this spiritual greed comes when one crosses Anut Nivritti. And to attain Krishna and to attain rasa, and then actually real bhakti begins in one sense. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitam ati kriyatam kuto labhate tatra laulyam ekamulanam janma koti sukriti na labhyate. So this is, for raga bhakti, this is the qualification. But here the eagerness is general, which a sadhaka should possess for, in a general instance, for even to come and take darshan of the deities, to come and hear Bhagavad class, to come and attend. When will I go for the yatra? When will I go to Vrindavan? To attain a yatra, to go for a yatra to hear Katha. So this kind of general thing, the sadhaka should come. That is in the purified state. Is real greed, which is spiritual greed. Okay.
Right, thank you.
Revealed his whereabouts in the grove by the sound of his flute, Snigdha Venu, Prana there, Radha coming quickly, Druta Gati, Harim Arat, to the grove, Prapya Kunje, with smiling face, Mite Akshi, remained waiting with her head hanging down, Tanvati, Namra Vaktra, eager to hear Krishna's words, Shravana Kohara Kandum. When will Kadanu, that Radha, Radhika, engage me, Snapayati Mam in her service, Nijadase. So in Radhika Ashtakam, again, this is Stavavali, which is composed by, I think Stavavali is Rupa Goswami himself. Raghunath Das Goswami. Stavamala is, sorry, Rupa Goswami. In his book Stavavali, Raghunath Das Goswami has prayed for the mercy of Radharani, who was so captivated by the flute vibrations of Krishna that she immediately asked information of his whereabouts from residents in the Vrindavan forest. Upon first seeing Krishna, she was filled with such ecstatic love and pleasure that she began to scratch her ears. Okay. Ishtapti spurhaya yata. Impatience arising from the desire to attain one's desired object. When the gopis, Sakigane, tried to prolong the conversation with Krishna by expert joking and thus delay him, Radha came to the group quickly on the pretext of accepting a bunch of flowers. Now, in what context this is again spoken, I have no idea. Let us see. Dhargayati means to prolong. Okay, why did this come? The damsels of Vraj and Radharani were very expert in talking cunningly. So as soon as they saw Krishna, they began their talkings, and Krishna, pretending to go for some flowers for them, immediately left that place and entered a mountain cave. This is another instance of eager loving exchange on the parts of both the gopis and Krishna. Okay. Now the 27th one is Augram. Augra. So we will take this up tomorrow. Time is up. So we'll take this up tomorrow. So in general, are there any questions, any clarifications? We have completed 26. So 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So another 6 Vyabhicari bhavs, and then further part is also very, very interesting. And I feel personally, after studying and now having the privilege to further study in your association, I feel that this subject has to be thoroughly understood. And because this, firstly, we go through these Vyabhichari bhavs in the form of material emotions, which actually bind us in material conditioning. And the more we connect them to Krishna and experience these spiritual emotions, the more we can become free from the material emotions and enter into the emotions of pure devotion. That's why it is very important that we study this. So thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki Jai. Hare Krishna.